Hey everybody, this is Rydo and we're back to Fallout New Vegas. So, yeah, I have a light on for no reason. Yeah, there we go. What a terrible way to start an episode. I sorted out everything. I said I was going to start with lockpicking, but then why start with lockpicking and then find out that there was something I needed to have to craft. So I lockpicked this lock and there was nothing but just generic crafting items in it, no surprise. So I've sorted out my weight here down to 65 by basically dropping everything. The one thing that possibly intrigues me here is this H-tool nail gun. It only does 153 damage, but it's apparently silent and has bonus critical and limb damage. So there might be some extra value in that. And yeah, this DLC definitely is coming from the approach that you would just come into here with no weapons or armor to start with, which at the recommended level is just not very likely. So I'm keeping the Cyberdog gun and the Riot shotgun, and then I'm just dumping everything else in there. And as far as crafting, and then to my surprise, I walked up to this poster and it said activate the poster and started a challenge. So apparently you're supposed to find all of these Ralphie posters. I know we've already walked past one of them. So yeah, if I'm going to do that challenge. But now that I also know challenges just are directly connected to achievements.
So sad.
Apparently we're approaching something that have actual people. I really don't like this.
Steady. Fighty.
I really don't like the whole vision here of it all being foggy. So, Hopeville Missile Base West entrance. This guy seems to be getting shot by something, but I don't know what's shooting. Marked man scout. So yeah, I don't know if we're gonna run into a bunch of scouts or what.
Cessation of hostilities complete.
So if I'm having to pour a whole bunch of bullets into these guys, it might just be a case that these guys are going to be super tough. And then the question certainly to ask is just, am I going to have a bunch of bullets that I can shoot? No. So I may find myself needing to, let's just use up all these bullets first, and then we may just have to use Eddie craft a bunch of bullets from other sources, which I'm not sure how much of that can really happen. It might also be a case that the more bullets I use, the more bullets I will start picking up, and that the game is somewhat balanced in these ways.
Time to fight.
It might be that these guys just don't have piercing. Yeah, it might just be a case that they have real large amount of of defense. We're moving. Guess we're supposed to be going somewhere. Let's just go here and see what's in here. I would assume that the consistency here is in them being red is an indicator that this isn't the Wild West thing. Okay. The one thing about the other DLC as far as the Old World Blues is...
Was that all?
It didn't really give me any way to carry things like coffee cups at a lighter weight. So this has just created a very different situation. Small energy cells and microfusion cells once per day. Now. Yep. Inherently, re-perking, I think, would be what I'd like to do. And I question why the game doesn't let you do that. Like, it kind of would make sense that maybe every 10 levels or every time you level up even, you're allowed to re-perk and reset what perks you have. The interface would have to be slightly better so you would know that if you did re-perk, it might lower your stats all over. Security briefcase is an interesting option. And so we have a locked safe that is hard here, so either there's nothing in it, which is not true, or there is a key somewhere. And here we see an air vent, and I assume you... I guess I was wrong, probably, about the idea that air vents would be something you could crawl through. They don't appear often enough to really for that to make sense, and this is another one of those areas where, were I not over encumbered, maybe you could get to this second level and look. Okay, so in the door area, which would be the one area to the left where I could store things. It seems kind of crazy that there was magazines hidden under destroyed books, that they'd encourage you to do that. Right. So my thought is that this isn't going to be a particularly big building. It really couldn't be that big anyways, if it's supposed to in any way follow what the appearance is on the outside. Ah, they did actually hide something behind the door. That's different. I think the ironic ending to this very well, this DLC, may be that we go through this whole long mile and it is supposed to be this indication of where the courier used to walk back and forth and was very familiar with and might have some relationship to, and none of it is going to matter one bit to the now shot in the head amnesiac courier that we're playing as. Certainly isn't going to mean too much to me as a player, because as far as I'm concerned, the the character I'm playing as is just a empty vessel. So, auto dock will just heal you. This is a commissary terminal, which inherently, doing a repair thing, get some XP. The fact that it's giving you microfusion cells so I don't know if he's actually doing anything by being told this information, or if that's just giving me XP because he likes new information. Okay. So we'll start by crafting 2 of those. And then optimize flamer fuel. Just back into the menu every single time. It's so crazy that there isn't a better system to this. I'm just looking at all the buttons. You'd think there'd be something, but there isn't. And if that was going to be the case, then there just needs to be a default button to get back into this. Apparently I can make some lad lives, so we'll do that. That is a waitlist item, so I don't really need to sell. Microfusion cells optimized. Eddie seems very happy to craft anything. But yeah, there's nothing more to craft. So I wouldn't really repair anything. So what this is going to come down to is, should I sell things? Like I can sell a frag grenade, but every other item really needs to be repaired first, and I forgot to do that, so I'm gonna have to come out and do all of that first. And at the moment we don't have any cooking, so probably is smart to just sell anything that has weight. Nikola Tesla and You is a book which I don't think I have collected before, so I want to hold on to that. Yeah, getting one of every single of the available skill books is kind of a tall order. Blank magazines are taking up weight, so I'm just gonna sell them. Yeah, I think because we can't fast travel to Big Mountain, the best case scenario is where you would sell all of this to the commissary at this point. And then if we end up having a ton of caps and nothing else to do, we would buy it from the commissary back at a slight loss. And yeah, I think that's probably the way to do things. Then we take it to the big mountain location and break things down and convert them and hope. It really is more of a hope than anything else that that would work. Seems to me like the commissaries are either not connected, which might be a problem, or they reset. We'll see what the next commissary says. Obviously, if it has a bunch of blank magazines, then we know for a fact that they all are interconnected. It's not particularly fun, I would say, though, having... Let's see, so this is 61, this is way more. So let's go ahead and repair that. And then silence 22. I don't think is as good as this 44 Magnum. Anti-material rifle versus brush gun. We will do anti-material rifle. Blade of the West. Can only be repaired with the shovel. I'm not going to do that. Flare gun is a named gun. So weirdly, I think the lead pipe might be the only thing I want to actually sell. Then Mark Scout armor here. Mark Trooper armor here. And I guess that's as good as we're gonna get it. Okay. Looking at the map, we just went in there. We're trying to find a laser detonator. And we just were in there, so we missed it. But the arrow also says go out. So we're not in the right building. Okay. Interesting, there might be just a secondary entrance to this building. And I don't see any way you would have recognized that, if that is the case, when you were inside.
Starting combat. Just kidding.
What? Then that is ridiculous to have your stealth suit joke with you like that. So no, it doesn't look like there's a higher entrance. That would be an interesting thought, certainly, but it would kind of break everything that's been established in the world before. There is some extra sneaky items up here, but I assume these are just extra rewards for being kind of thorough. What this feels like they're doing is trying to establish an idea of... Oh, so I'm looking at the wrong place. I am here. I need to go this way. Yeah, it feels like they're trying to establish the idea of what a more bombed out, destroyed environment might have been had this been what
Time to fight.
what Fallout was like. Which, yeah, this is much more just urban post-apocalyptic combat. This gun is not going to work. Well, you would want something big. So it'd still be just like pull out the Cyberdog gun.
Was that all?
And landing on these tires is not going to reduce your fall damage. We have a marksman hunter.
Time to fight. Fighting over.
I'm not going to pick up tin cans or plungers. Those are still pretty much just junk items. Even empty Nuka-Cola bottles actually don't have a crafting recipe, so collecting them only lets you turn them into purified water when you get to Big Mountain. MREs. It's kind of hard to even see them on the ground. See, I don't know if that's something. It's a coffee mug stuck in the ground. So this does feel to me like this is what the thought of a more linear action running gun shooter would be like, at least from whoever made this DLC. And it does feel off-putting. I'm gonna break my rule immediately here by pick up a tin can. And so there is, I guess, a nuclear thing that we're looking to detonate. And so I wonder what the actual experience of detonating will be. Whether we will just flatten an area, or, I mean, and if we did flatten an area, what would that do as far as all the resources? Does it really even matter as far as all the resources? And what is an experience like this really going to become if we just become over encumbered? Interesting dead. Interesting way that is written. It almost looks like Chinese in the way it's been drawn. Then you have a paint. So we did hear colors were going to point us in certain directions, so I wonder if this isn't what they mean. That we will see painted spots. Then we have rocket, laser detonator. You found the laser detonator Ulysses spoke of, a piece of pre-war tech that can detonate the nuclear warhead scattered around the Lonesome Road. You can use it to open new paths, kill enemies from afar, or even discover secret loot caches. Just point it at a warhead and hold down the trigger and watch the explosion. If what Ulysses said is true, you'll need this to advance, which means there must be a warhead blocking the way forward. You'll need to find the correct warhead and detonate it. Interesting. Am I bumping into things? And here we have a red glare. Rocket launcher. And rocket canisters.
Uh-oh.
So I'm probably taking these guys out too easily, but it definitely seems to me like the thought here is that you would have to use a laser detonator. I'm missing completely. The light pole was in the way, I guess. Yep. That was a stim pack. I meant to use the sunset sarsaparilla.
Bad guys dealt with.
Okay, there is a rocket way over there. Let's see if the detonator works. So you don't have VATS. And you don't really have anything other than iron sights. You have to just hold it there. See, that's not quite big enough of an explosion that I think it really would have killed any of these people attacking me. And yeah, it definitely is fulfilling something that I felt was missing in the main game, which is the fact that unless you have a explosive build and are just shooting off mini nukes with a fat man all the time, which I don't know how you really would have been able to do that. And the games are really not designed to do that. You're just not going to see the kind of nuclear explosions that you would expect to see. Okay. So let's take a moment and let's see. Anti-material rifle, an anti-material rifle. Arc welder can't be repaired. Blade of the West. Seems like it is going to be something we just get a lot of. Laser detonator actually loses some of its condition. I wasn't really expecting that. Now, I don't want to get rid of the riot shotgun, but I may end up dropping the riot shotgun into Eddie's inventory. Yeah, these are fairly good high-priced items. So I do appreciate that. Let's see. Sniper rifle does feel like it might be the item we're going to end up using. Yeah, I think that's good enough for now. I guess the question to ask is, was there another path here? Or is this just some slight back alley stuff? Here's another poster so we can show off this. There are 18 more of those. I know I missed at least one of them. I also know that this would lead to just an achievement, so I'm not particularly interested in picking all of that up. Whole bunch of bobby pins. Locksmith. So you don't really see this in the main game. Just a blown out building. In the main game, almost certainly you would suspect that it would... I don't even know what a cursor is. There it is. If you were going to go into a store and there was going to be items to pick up, it would almost certainly be a load screen. But this is a much faster experience to just wander around an area. And these buildings are small and manageable. Not going for super complicated dungeons, which the main game doesn't really give you super complicated dungeons either. It seems like the walking back may be a fair thing. So what I think I'll probably do is fast travel back to this location right as I get encumbered, and then drop off items, and then keep on doing that. It looks to me like the road is just going to zigzag down this way in more linear encounters. So what I want to do is just kind of go back this way first and reevaluate whether we've base service gate key. We kind of need the local map, I think, more than we even need the world map. Maybe that's more of a focus here, is that they are creating a local map experience. I thought I saw a warhead there. Yes, there is a warhead here. So that creates another question, certainly. Is this too close? Inevitably, this explosion just loaded in another area, a different instance, or more likely it just despawned items. So now we have this women's barracks, which I guess we can search. And this gun is terrible when it comes to picking up items, because it blocks your vision. I just don't think there's a lot you can find here. Kind of the best case scenario here is that you find some kind of upgrade or just a bunch of food or something, but we don't have a cook ability either, so unless we found a fire to cook things. Find a bunch of MREs, which that makes a lot of sense that we would find a bunch of those. In a funny way, I think we've kind of moved away from the story part as far as finding Eddie's past and memories for a while. There's another one of those Ralphie posters, which I would assume Ralphie was the default iBot.
This one looks pretty tough.
There we've gotten our first mysterious stranger, and boy is that not very helpful.
That's all.
As far as visually speaking, that doesn't look great.
We haven't seen anybody in a while. Maybe the monsters have stealth suits too.
I guess the question here is, are those just going to be infinite spawns? Or are those scripted? Bobby pins in the sink. Damaged shipping crate. Have to look up and down, even though the game mostly is encouraging you to look downward. So it's kind of a misnomer to call it the Lonesome Road, though, if you're gonna have Eddie with you the whole time. Road seems to be an accurate description. Also, Ulysses probably seems like the only person that's actually gonna talk to you. And the game crashed. Yeah. The game is crashing quite a lot. I will have to admit that I was using one monitor and it broke, and now I'm back on an old monitor, and I think that's causing problems too. At a certain point, maybe I should just disconnect the monitor itself. But also, this crashing may very well have nothing to do with any of that, because the problem with my old monitor that I'm using as my third monitor was that it would flicker and lose connection, and cause Windows itself to crash. I can't, in my mind, make a direct connection to New Vegas crashing, because New Vegas crashes in a very different way. It almost always crashes when it is saving and trying to write to the hard drive, or in my case an SSD, which maybe that is the problem. Maybe you'll have infinitely less crashing if you are playing this on a very slow hard drive, where this game would have expected it to take a little bit longer. Of course, it shouldn't be crashing in any ways. It's poor future-proofing to bake in expectations as far as the performance of any computer in a computer game. Yep. You should start a process and then expect the process to end, and just wait for the process to end. You shouldn't try to optimize any way where past that. Okay, the thing that is somewhat dangerous about all of this is going to be how all of these items are just going to be out here. I was still going to hold on to the shovel, even though I may not need it, and the right shotgun for the time being at least. So yeah, best case scenario, you just drop. I think I need to read Groknar the Barbarian, but you know what, I don't think I actually do. I think I should probably hold on to all the books going forward, because I'm just going to level up and be at 100 anyways, as far as all the skills. Same was true for Nikola Tesla and you. I know that there's a challenge of refilling health by eating food, which there's certainly a thought to be had there. The big issue here, of course, is that it's not that I couldn't get most of the achievements, it's that I can't get all of the achievements, particularly when some of them literally would require me to start a whole new game. I could cheat, certainly. I'm sure somebody has a save file that is just in the right place to accomplish a lot of achievements. But then why bother if you're cheating? Why bother in the first place is certainly a good question to ask. Achievements used to mean so much more to me when they first were introduced, when they were tied to Xbox Gamer Score. But when I moved over to PC gaming, Steam just did not make it feel like it was a thing. Admittedly, I was being led by the nose by Microsoft and the Xbox 360 pushing for a achievement lust. And I fell for it, certainly. But yeah, it was an intriguing introduction of just here's one extra reason to keep you playing, or reward you for playing. But yeah, in retrospect, also was like a big waste of time. One of the problems I would say that I've run into with this DLC is that the screen here can be very difficult to read because of the effects, and the effects don't turn off when you're in the screen. So we curved around and didn't really investigate this path as much. So I wonder if it was a case that well, if I'd known this was here, I would have grabbed all this too. And I would have to assume that the marked men are crazy and that they don't have the access codes that I do. Otherwise, why would all of this still be here? Although, maybe it would make sense to just leave everything here. I cannot pick up this item. Doesn't seem like it's an actual item to pick up. This is a very hard thing. I don't know what you do with toy cars. I don't know what is really also killing so many of these marked men if they're not killing each other. There was a game that did introduce the idea of just standing in an area and holding down the A button and sucking up all the items within a certain radius of where you were standing. I think that was a really good idea, and I'd like to see it in all future games. Like, if I could just stand here, hold down the A button, and either highlight or pick up all the items, that'd be great. just don't need this. You didn't need this originally when this game came out. You don't need to try
I
and
bet no one
waste
has
the
ever been
player's
as unnoticed as me.
time. Just wasting the player's time to stretch. Yep. And it definitely puts me in a weird position where I kind of want to praise this DLC because it feels like it's going to be more of a linear, shorter experience, but in practical application I don't know if it really is. These here and here. So it seems like you needed the laser detonator to get into this section and blow up this wall of cars. Then the next part is a key section, which we already found the key. Definitely doesn't feel like damage per second matters anywhere as much as I thought it would. If anything, I question if it isn't just a case where the nail gun is going to have massive piercing damage and go through all of their armor. Which, yeah. The interface doesn't do a good job of highlighting the armor. And the amount of defense your enemies have. And you'd want the game to really tell you something like that. You'd like to say it's effective, it's super effective, it's ineffective. Just pull up all of those Pokemon responses you get at the top in VATS, particularly. I notice a indication of whether you're doing critical hits, but my understanding of critical hits is really more of just a dice roll based on your luck. It doesn't, I think, have anything really to do with the actual effectiveness of your weapons towards the armor that you're shooting. Not every skeleton has something to pick up near it, but some do. So yeah, I'm not really sure what you're supposed to do here other than maybe interact with the commissary. Okay, so we wanted to see if the commissaries are connected. If it was connected, then these blank magazines would be here. We do see that the blank magazines are here. So what I want to do is sell anything that might be in the highest level of condition which would be nothing. I guess we have to sell the books too. It's a lot of random stuff. All these mods definitely are getting in the way. $666 caps. Yeah, there's just gonna be a lot of this, isn't there? Be so nice if you could just flag things as vendor trash and hit one button to sell everything. Have a filter list. What's gonna really mess up here is when we eliminate all of the commissary's money. It's just going to have this trade experience, like where I'm gonna end up just buying riot gear over and over again just to give caps to the commissary, just to sell other items to the commissary. And since you're always losing money on these deals, it's just gonna be in a weird situation. Right. Let's see, weapons here. Armor here. So I can't carry the US Army combat armor. Probably, I guess, because he's overwhelmed. That'd be my guess. So I'm at 98, which means there's probably something I missed under the miscellaneous, but maybe not. It may just be that the US Army combat gear is some kind of faction item, and as such Eddie can't hold on to it for me. Eddie can't carry anymore, so Eddie is full. And then this door just opens over here, and I'm pretty sure if we look at the local map, I've already been here. Yep. Pretty sure we've already searched this whole area. So it's a real attempt at compression. The storms are also compressing just how much you can see. So unlike the Mojave, you're not just looking at a whole bunch of pop-in of textures on the mountains around here. It's not so stormy that you can't see anything though, which I appreciate that. I guess the question to ask otherwise is there just a way
Time
through?
to fight.
Oh man, I gotta remember how bad the targeting is. Unless this guy is unless the enemy is gonna be
Cessation of hostilities complete.
right in front of your base. So it definitely feels like the encouragement, but not necessarily the need, is to
Starting combat.
go
Just kidding.
around and search areas. For keys and things. What's funny here is you've got a whole bunch of items. Just take the box and drag it on the floor. And all of these items are like crafting items. And it's kind of funny you can drag the boxes around considering how you can't pick up the boxes. So what I'm planning on doing here is cleaning out the area and considering this my new base of operation, because there's like frag grenades, a reloading station, and a and a crafting bench all in one place, and storage. Does seem like a nice location. Plus, you've got a whole bunch of boxes here. So if I wanted to get really fancy, I could sort things. I'm not sure I'm gonna get that fancy though. So, did we clear items out of the way? Now notice you don't have really a great way of manipulating things with like the left stick to rotate them. So putting something back on the shelf is pretty impossible. Almost seems like you'd be able to put things on display on the shelf, but no. Yeah, fancy displaying of items is not really in the realm of possibility. Seeing all these corpses, this does feel like the marked men could have just been super mutants. I am now over encumbered. I saw that one coming. Oops. I hit the wrong button there and I broke it. That is, I believe, the second time I've done that. Pushing the buttons too fast. It doesn't matter. I'm just not going to run out of bullets. It does feel like they want me to use a rocket, however, on all these enemies, and in fairness, that would work. So I probably should decide to make some changes here. So here's the one issue, I would say, though. While this is the best location, it is also further away. And that is something that needs to be considered, is that if I was here, it's gonna just take twice as long to walk to here, which you still have to walk through that entire bunker selection, unless there's gonna be a fast travel to get to here, More realistically, I should be transporting everything to this location and reducing as much as possible the amount of over encumbered time I spend walking. Again, let's see. If we turn on the flashlight, if we look at a wall this way, you still just get this effect. You just wish this would work, but it won't. Okay, so I don't want to do Blade of the West anymore until I'm starting. Please, let's see. Lead pipe's not valuable, we know that. So the question is Bowie knife more valuable than police baton? The menu doesn't show us that. Police baton is way less valuable than Bowie knife. Ideally, you would want to know, you want to be able to sort things here by their highest possible value, or even maybe just have a coincidence that all alphabetically everything starting with A is more valuable than everything starting with B as far as the list of things that can be repaired. Thermic lance. Okay. That's about as much as we can do. Keep getting these riot shotguns. But we still would need what would we need? Trooper armor. I'm gonna be very careful about what I use and what I don't use here. Also, I kind of just want to don't really have a sale item though, so yeah, how are we going to sell any of this without just going back to a commissary? Why are we getting so many? Crafting ingredients for things that probably don't matter. Why are we getting so many microfusion cells and E-cells? Nobody is firing those kinds of weapons. These electron charge packs, very few guns actually use that. Okay. So, yeah, you do all of that. And then what? like the move is to just fast travel, and I'm over encumbered. So can we get our over encumberdness down? To then fast travel to this place, to then grab as much as we can without over encumbering ourselves too much. That was too much. We need 5 pounds removed. Okay. Seriously? 1 pound too much. Okay.
I bet no one has ever been as unnoticed as me.
So then you would go back here, and we've got to figure out, is there even a storage space here? Well, you would be facing this way. This is the exit to the Mojave Wasteland. I could exit the Mojave Wasteland, but I don't want to do that and then go to Big Mountain. But I really only want to do that once. And I can't just drop items. So, where is the secret storage that we would have to remember? I do think that there is a duffel bag over here. Is it more realistic to do the duffel bag, or is it more realistic to walk to the door? I think there is a high chance I will not remember the duffel bag, but whatever. Okay. Put half of the auto inject stim packs in here. And then some of these magazines would also be useful to get rid of. Yeah. The more I can get rid of as far as items, the better. Probably put about half as many stim packs away too, since they take up space. So keep a stealth boy. See, like ant venom, I don't think we're even going to use. The rocket launcher is still I guess, in the other location. I don't know how you don't realize, though, when developing this game, how much of a speed bump in progress dealing with all this nonsense is. Like, even if you just don't want to deal with it, there's so much of it around that you have to pick up weapons and you have to pick up bullets from people. So I just don't see. I wonder if this light up spots indicate something. Yeah. I just don't see how you would be able to even avoid picking up items and sorting through the inventory fairly frequently. Okay, so this put me here. Which, yeah. If we need to do reloading, if we need to do crafting, we've got this. 12 gauge buckshot magnum, I think is what we should. No, we should do the hand loaded 12 gauge buckshot that way. And then we should think about what else what do I need to make more the 12 gauge hand loaded. I need pistol powder. Okay. So what can I break down to give myself pistol powder? Break down 9mm. Yeah. And pistol power. Just continue to break down that. Yeah, it seems like it always is the right move to break down pistol 9mm because, yeah, you never really run into a problem there. .44 Magnum rounds, hand loaded. We'll make some of that. But I kind of don't know what else I'm supposed to be making. So I could make like 5.56 here, or I could make 50 minigun here, which probably, if that's miniguns, we should do that. And then, yeah. See, this is just why I don't ever want to really engage with the reloading station, because I just don't know what gun I'm even going to be using. So, how am I supposed to know what bullets to craft? Like, I don't even know what bullets I'm using right now on the dog. Yeah, 357 mini mags. Okay. Let's see if there's any 357 mags that we could craft. Nope. Okay. You have some interesting background music playing while we're doing all of this. Let's see. Here we have more of that tilt that I don't really appreciate. And it is kind of crazy that some broken boxes exist. So, service gate key is now unlocked. We can move forward. Main game wants us to go this way and around. I think my thought is to stick around the edges and see if we can take higher roads. There we see another Ulysses mark, that's what I guess I will call them. And I guess these are just sniper.
Sneaking done. Fighting now.
It's a basement, apparently. And seems to be a platform around here. Yeah, you're not really getting the armor pop up. Like, so it's not the armor that's not hurting them. It's just a, I think, really poor ratio of hits to non-hits.
Bad guys dealt with.
Hits to misses, I guess is what you would say, if you were speaking correctly. Let's check this basement out. It is one of the few places that doesn't have the storm effect, so I appreciate that. This might be a decent place to decide to work on your inventory. Just because when you pull up the map it would be more readable. And we seem to just be seeing a lot of chopped up bodies, which, no real surprise there. You're seeing chopped up bodies all over the place. It seems to me like marked men eat each other. We have a service rifle. And we have another poster. And we have a hung upside down corpse. Which, yeah. In Fallout 3 there every now and then was these occasional gory, horrific sections. And it is definitely still just a far cry from what I suspect. Is there an item in his hand or not? I think it's just a bit of gore behind his hand on the wall. Yeah, this just never feels like the silly experience that I think Fallout really should be. It doesn't seem like we're going to interact with the power outlets, although it always does seem like there might be a chance of that. So my thought here is that maybe we could stealth our way. Did we really look in that area? Yeah, I think we did. Yeah, I'm pretty sure we've seen that, this whole section. That's, I think, where we got the detonator, was up there somewhere. My thought here though would be maybe you're just supposed to stealth. So let's give this a try. This game really can't do too much to encourage stealth, but if I could find a nuclear thing like there in stealth, and then just take the laser detonator.
Sneaking done. Fighting now.
So much for stealth, really. Here we have a named character named Blister. I'm not hitting. So I do need a rocket launcher. I suspect what might be part of the problem here is that this gun may just have a level of travel. That's like the third or fourth time I've done stim pack damage. Misfortune. Shooting. You get the camera all up her backside. And here we have the mysterious stranger helping out. So misfortune and the mysterious stranger combined can be fairly useful. See, but I think the solution here has got to be to just get down here and fight. And this is very possibly the wrong place to have been. It's kind of hard to even find the right path back. But yeah, it really feels like it's a case where you are just going to have to run towards them. Notice that these bodies don't glow or anything, something you would expect that from more modern games, that have unlooted bodies glow, or at least be able to, I don't know, zoom in and search for unlooted bodies. Blowing up that path did not lead to a, well, if we look at the map, it maybe is the only way through, but it also seems like there's just a whole side area. At 13% chance of hitting, is that per bullet shot, or is that per group of bullets? Definitely seems like firing from the sights is better. can't help but also suspect that can't even see him. I'm gonna run out of bullets eventually here. Yeah, I think the number of bullets you're shooting in this minigun probably increases the number of mysterious strangers and misfortunes. Maybe per bullet, maybe just because you're shooting a lot of salvos of bullets. Interesting. So this is a fire truck when fire trucks are noticeably missing from the fire station in the main game. And it's pretty obvious how that would have happened. That you would have had a order from a director to make fire trucks. It gets put down as not a particularly high priority 3D model to make, and thus it doesn't get delivered until after the main game had already shipped. And in more modern times, you probably would have seen something like that fire truck model reintegrated into the main game so that the fire station would have fire trucks in it instead of having just a car in it, although probably would have had to scale some things down too, because that fire truck, while realistically the right size, wouldn't have fit in the fire station, which was fairly small. In Fallout 3 there were these booths that you were supposed to pay some money and go inside if the bombs fell, that were small and round like this. That doesn't seem like those exist at all in this game, which is fine because they didn't really do much. You would just find the occasional corpse in the booth, or bullets or guns. Suffice it to say, the boost did not seem to keep anyone actually alive. Or if they did, there's no evidence to that fact. Could we get up there? No. So, my assumption here is that the marked men build these either to sleep in or do something else with. Just rough constructions with rough bricks, which is something you might expect to see a lot more of. So it's very much a different design philosophy from what you see in the main game. I do think we are in danger here of finding 18 out of 20 of the Ralphie posters and then may just want to go find them. But if I put off a quest like that long enough, I will just level up to level 50 anyways. Picking up way too many tin cans, because all you do with tin cans is make tin can grenades with microfusion cells, which I think means you would not use the microfusion cells in an actual gun. That would be way more useful. Ideally, I would want a crafting recipe that had tin cans plus explosive powder from bullets. Like, that might make sense. Okay. So there's another bomb path here to go forward. So you are making your choices on that. And so let's see if we can reduce our weight and look around some more. Blade of the West versus shovel versus super sledge. Super sledge is better than Blade of the West. It's actually very valuable weapon. Service rifle at half is 211. Marksman combine is much higher than that, so we'll do that. Knives, so we'll do that. And flare gun versus flare gun. Flare gun frightens abominations, but maybe hurts your HP. I don't know if it hurts the enemy's HP or somebody else's. Now I don't think we've ever had a marked beast helmet. So, and I do think we have seen veteran Decanus helmets, but actually I'm not sure about either. Move here is to try and do things quickly. Yeah, I could probably just use the marksman carbine. Okay, should be good enough. Yeah, I'm uncertain if that is the rewards for getting the Wild Wasteland perk. If it isn't just that you're finding more random stuff when you pick up items from enemies. So it's not a terrible perk, if that's really what it does, because that's just not really that weird or wild.
I bet no one has ever been as unnoticed as me.
So we're looking around this next section. Supply outpost. See some radiation, which I don't have to really worry about, but just keep a small eye on it and don't spend too much time. For as many knives as we're finding, I would like more cosmic knives to be found. It definitely feels like a different way of playing a video game here, though. That you're just getting a much better, much more dense selection of items, and as such you're encouraged to look around and search, and instead of just kind of running. So there's a whole bunch of stuff here, but then also I'm going to blow up the place. So I guess the move is to make sure you pick up everything first. Leave nothing behind of any value. I almost wonder if there is an achievement for blowing yourself up. Which, video game wise, there's only one way to test that. And it is the dumbest way. Alright. Make a safety save. Hope the game doesn't crash. Switch our weapon to laser detonator, which I don't believe I can do anything to get rid of the laser detonator. And yeah, let's just stand back about here and see how that works. So the thing about that, as my arm has been knocked off, is that there's there's no way to survive or get an achievement and have it carry over if it just reloads you when you die. Yeah, I took some damage there. And we can certainly remove some radiation. So did I blow this crate open? Is that what I actually did? These are just boxes otherwise. And if you look at the frame here, there's just like no way this car should be intact at all, this trailer. So yeah, I can't help but suspect that in this case, setting off that nuke either opened only this, which is not a path to anything, or it is just moving a challenge down. It did eliminate the radiation, so if I wanted to come back to this area, that might mean something. And I'm not sure I've hit or missed. I may have missed some of the other nuke warheads. If that's the case, then yeah, I don't know what to really say about that. I assume we might get a warning before we end this DLC, or that there really just won't be a real end to the DLC, so we could come back and pick up anything we may have missed. Anyways, here is a log, so this is important stuff. Log 2 of 6 as far as Ulysses goes. So this was a somewhat important area to search. It doesn't really feel that much different though. So, let's see. I think we had already played this.
Back again. Left that crater behind. Got a few holidays left. One's from the medical center. The woman, she fixed the recorder. Said it wouldn't last.
Do you like me?
believes in the Brotherhood of Steel, not Elijah. Different view, same madness. She answered me on their philosophy, their way of seeing, the roads they walk. Dead ends, empty, as if technology can solve anything. Big empty's proof where that road leads, just like the divide and all the roads that lead to it.
So this would be past the point of Ulysses being at the big empty. You can see there's a tiny little blue, easily overlooked Ulysses symbol here. And I guess to catch up, we should listen to this one also.
Emptiness here, like the sands of the great salt lake, echoed. The beating in the divide sky, like storm drums of the white legs, ran with them on the salt beds at Caesar's command. Cut the throats of the two-headed bear, cut all communities off. Use storm, sky, disease, fire, starvation, and the violence of the ignorant to ruin all who could. Might stand against him. But the white legs, they couldn't live on their own like most scavengers. So gave them purpose, turned their hunger into a weapon. The wall of New Canaan, too high for Caesar. Too proud, maybe. Or maybe something there from his past that needed killing. Memory of Graham. Help them dig out Canaan's supply caches and other secrets the sands hid. Bunkers filled with powered weapons even the Brotherhood might desire. They call these new weapons storm drums in the firing of shells. Taught them the power in the casings to channel the spirits in their guns. Me, they called me the flag bearer. Glory in my hand, in my staff that still bore the weight of the old world, just as the symbol on my back did. I learned their weapons as a means of respect, and when it came their turn to pay respect to me, history came rushing back. Can't escape what's been done. History's there, no matter how far you walk.
So I'm still really uncertain as far as whether Ulysses is a important character from maybe Fallout 1 or 2 or Tactics, or if he's just a brand new character that they're giving a lot of backstory to. So as far as the world map goes, I'm supposed to go to this next location. And as far as our weight goes, we're going to be over encumbered. So what I think the move is we know we can go back this way and fast travel this way. So let's fast travel over here. What we don't know, or don't have though, is a great process as far as other things. Okay, take that, we'll be immediately over encumbered, and we're hoping we can just drop enough. Doesn't seem like that's going to work. Yeah, he's overfilled with items. We are getting a better idea now of just what items are what. So yeah, the best move is to see if we can get my weight down. And this probably isn't just a matter of dropping armor. It's probably more a matter of dropping specific crafting ingredients and garbage. Let's see, can we find other things that are heavy? We're still like nowhere near. Of course, also some of this stuff should be craftable even right now. Let's see what we can actually craft. Yep, definitely is faster to use these crafting tables than it is to use Eddie. You need to be careful not to do the Rydo Cyberdog upgrade. See, that only gets us so far though. Food and alcohol mostly needs to be sold, but at a certain level could be eaten. But I think you actually have to eat it as you're losing health. I don't think that you make progress on that challenge by eating it later. It definitely feels like it would be nicer if there was a crafting ingredient where you could convert food into MREs or something like that. We're getting closer, but we're still getting wrecked as far as really heavy things. Vacuum cleaners in particular. Alright, so we are... Let's just do that for safety's sake. Then let's see what traveling to this location really would look like. Yeah, there's no container really in this location, so if we traveled this way it would be a load, and then it would be so fast traveling, travel this way to a load, and then coming through here. And then it would be a very long, over-encumbered journey down this path to get to the commissary. Which we should just double check on the commissary that they are all interconnected. Yeah. If these are all interconnected, then there should be some miscellaneous blank books here. And I don't see that. There's nothing miscellaneous here. Ooh. Certainly that creates an issue. because what happens when I sell something I didn't mean to sell. Yeah, so inconsistency is killer in any game design. You have to point that out. Particularly losing items that could be named items or extremely rare items. I'd say that there's a higher chance you'll just have fairly rare items where there's only 2 or 3 of them that you're likely to find in a reasonable amount of time. But then there also are named items that at best you'll get 2 or 3 in the entire gameplay. And of course you could go into the console and cheat to your heart's desire as far as spawning more of them. But
I bet no one has ever been as unnoticed as me.
A legitimate gameplay experience as much as I am. That is a concern, certainly. Now, the good news is I don't believe I've sold anything too valuable. And don't have any cooking going on. So food items themselves are going to be an issue. Should I be using sunset sarsaparillas instead of stim packs? Yes, I do think that would make some sense. Super stim pack I think are more valuable. Ideally, I would want to just get rid of just everything. Buff out might be the one thing to keep. Okay. So, suffice it to say though, there's a lot of work that needs to be done here, and I'm just gonna have to do it. I would want to get same old rules. You'd want to get one that is in perfect condition for your collection, although arguably you could keep a collection of the least highest condition and then sell the one that is in perfect condition for much more caps. But after having one, my plan would be to take an over-encumbered journey from this point to the commissary and sell a bunch of this and see if we can get the mods and see if we have the right rocket launcher, which is clearly what they want us to be using. Although I don't know how you're going to end up fighting Ulysses in that case. I obviously have a whole bunch of miscellaneous stuff here. I guess for the miscellaneous stuff, I'm just going to drop it, and there will just have to be a massive amount of the transferring and crafting at Big Mountain later on, if this just worked, instead of saying it doesn't work in DLC sections. This would be the easiest solution by far. But yep. So yeah, I'm gonna play off screen, sell some things I can sell, try to get caps, trying to get mods. Worst case scenario, I may have to I'm going to have to maybe go to like the men's camp, I believe it was, that had the commissary we sold things in, and hope that the inventory is still there. I suspect all the commissaries in these areas might be connected, and the one in the missile silo is just not connected. Obviously there's this area, and then there's kind of this high road entrance, which seems like this might just be very dangerous. And then a silo section, which I think may just end us like here, wandering back here, and then it does feel like that is pretty much the end of the game. This might be the actual divide, as far as there's, looks like there is just a big split in the earth. I'm not sure if the Courier's Mile is something we're going to do. I question whether the fog on this map, which it's weird that there's fog on a map and that it looks like the fog is maybe even slightly moving. Not sure if it really is or not. I question severely that it's not going to actually do anything. And you can see this map is particularly small. Like, even if you try to zoom in, it's not going to show you much of anything because there's just not that much. This is almost the exact opposite of Big Mountain in that concept. Maybe we'll get more DLC quests that will send us to do more things. And before I do anything else, I need to just go and grab the rest of the stuff in one or two more travels. And the storm's so bad, you can easily be turned away. Yep. I guess the best case scenario would be to have just your crafting items here. Yeah, it's still the same old issue. Between the two of you, you're gonna hold maybe 400 pounds. And so it would definitely just be a case of going back and forth on all of this. Figuring out every little thing. Alright, but yeah, there's no reason to do that on screen either. So yeah, I'm gonna do a lot of busy work after this episode, which I was hoping we would stop having that happen. I don't really feel like this is also any kind of after effect of just being so late game. Like, I think if you were playing very early game, you'd still need to pick up a bunch of stuff and handle it some way. Maybe not try and organize things as much as me, or try and maximize the profit as much as me, but yeah, you gotta handle it some way. And there obviously seems like there's a build here. If you put in 0 points to the barter skill, you would never be able to buy things like mods, and so that whole DLC of the Gunrunner's Arsenal might be very useless to you if you're not interested in the bartering and shopkeeping and the item manipulation, which arguably a modded version of this game that just did away with all of that would make a game that is much more of an action-based just run and shooter, which is more of what I think modern gamers would want. Anyways, that's going to be it for this recording. As always, I ask you to like, share, subscribe, comment, and keep on watching. Thanks.